It's like, thought, oh, what's the point? I shouldn't be doing that. So it's really just as a selfish way to say, I'm playing here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like that because I'm not overly into it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure this is going to be great.
Rolling?
All right.
You sure we're rolling?
Yeah.
You guys all ready?
Yes, sir.
I'm not ready. Give me a second. No, I'm fine. We're good. All right. Hello, people of the world. We're back here in the acoustic A room of South Austin Music, back with another Sam Sessions. I'm Seth Welker, the world's worst interviewer, and to my left here we got Kym Warner. Kym, how you feeling today?
Good, Doug. I'm very good. Thanks, mate. Yeah, it's good to be here.
Good stuff.
No, I'm great. It's awesome, man. Good to see you.
Awesome, man. Awesome. We're happy to have you here. You've been coming into the shop for quite a while now. How long would you say you've been a customer of South Austin Music? 20
years. Heading on to 21 years since I first moved to Austin.
Okay.
Been in the States 21 years now, and been coming here. I lived in Tennessee for a few years in the middle there, but love it. This is great, man. It's a real music store. Always have something interesting. Always have what you need. Have stuff you don't really need but you want.
Absolutely.
Can't be a problem.
Now, coming from a dumb American, your voice, your accent sounds a little funky to me.
Yeah.
You want to get into that a little bit? Where are you from, Kym?
The allergies, or that might be something to do with it. No, I'm from Adelaide, South Australia, which is sister cities with our fair city here, Austin.
Okay.
And lived in Adelaide until I was about 16, and then went on the road playing music around that time, and been doing it ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Lived in Sydney for 4 or 5 years, and then moved to America, Texas.
What drew you to the U.S., would you say?
Well, it's just the music. I played predominantly acoustic music. Mandolin and Bluegrass was sort of my initial grounding, and then just wanted to come over to America where there is a scene for almost anything you want. It's no secret that you've got to come to America to play music to make it, or whatever you want to call it. But the opportunity is there, so I wanted to play the mandolin.
Absolutely.
Didn't have an opportunity to do that sort of in any sort of capacity that I would like. And then you come to the place where the best people on the planet are, so you can be pushed constantly on all the time, which is what it's like here.
Absolutely.
Great, best part.
So, being from Australia, what do you think it is exactly that drew you to the mandolin and bluegrass music?
Yeah, well, it's just that simple as my dad plays the music still to this day. So it was around. I was always listening to that growing up, bluegrass, country music. American roots music, rockabilly music. So it was just around. And then I just I started playing violin a little bit, and then I picked up the mandolin. It was it felt cooler to me, and it was also easier because the violin, you just always struggling to try and play in tune.
Mm-hmm.
The mandolin was like, oh, it's in tune, put that away. This is much better. And then when I came to America, then you're around, like I said, people that just play it so well, the instrument. Everywhere you look, there's people that play it great. So it just pushes you to constantly be pushing yourself. So so I really wanted to be a part of some sort of scene in America and just get to meet people and play music. So we did it for 20 years.
Absolutely. Yeah, so back in Australia, you were the 4-time mandolin champion winner, right?
Right.
How satisfying was that for you?
Look, it probably was pretty satisfying at the time. It was a while ago, but how do I say without being disrespectful? We certainly don't have the grounding of that type of instrumentalist on any of the instruments. There's good players, there's really good players, but so it's not like going to Winfield here and winning that competition in America because you're really playing against people that really, really play. And I couldn't really play either. I just sort of happened to maybe be a little bit more advanced than some of the other players, and so. It looks good on paper and all that, but it doesn't. I'm under no misconception that makes
something to throw on the resume.
Level. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm proud of the achievement, but unfortunately they don't have those competitions anymore. They used to have them at this big country music festival in Tamworth, which is where they coincide all of the industry stuff in Australia, like the awards for the CMA awards would be here. And then they would have a big festival surrounding it and lots of great gigs. And then they used to have this bluegrass picking competition on all the instruments. So it was really fun. And initially, there was a grand. They'll give you $1,000 if you won. So I thought this was fantastic. Maybe get a few dollars out of this.
Was that the first time that you were paid for your playing?
No. No, it was the best I'd been paid for my playing for one short morning's work,
Yeah.
play a few tunes and then advance, play a couple more. No, but it wasn't that. It was a few years after I'd been paid. I'd been playing music full time at that stage.
Right.
But it used to be really great because there'd be, like any sort of community of music, whether it be bluegrass or jazz, rock and roll, whatever it is. There's that vocabulary of the music itself, and then there's the sort of mutual admiration with the players, and it's exciting. So it was really fun to get together.
So you were talking about, getting paid for playing, which I'm sure is one of the best feelings ever.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to get, as some would say, like a regular job to pay the bills?
Not really. Since I've been on the road, since I think I was 16, 17, I've really only played music for a living. But I have done jobs. Well, for example, when COVID hit and we stopped, there was just no gigs around. I was just like so bored, so I went out and got some day work, just like cleaning up some property sites and stuff, which was great, just for my mental sense as much as anything.
Right.
And I guess that did bring in some money, so that might have been the time that I needed to do something. So I guess I can answer yes to that question, but that's about it. No, yeah. I needed to do it because I was just going nuts because I like to be playing, and if I'm not playing regularly, it drives me nuts. And that was tough.
You started off touring on the road at an early age, 16, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was that like starting so early?
Well,
were you exposed to anything maybe, at an early age that maybe you wouldn't have been otherwise?
I don't know really. Yeah, I mean, the tour was very different. I mean, the tour that I started doing when I was younger was remote Aboriginal communities in Australia, like Native American reservations, same situation. So, I mean, that was a real eye opener for me. It was like I went from just being a kid in a city to out there living in. It's just like basically like a sleeping bag, and you're just traveling these small little 4-wheel drives with suitcase and box with tinned food and stuff because it wasn't always fresh food. So that was it set me up well for touring, like because the next conditions when I was getting paid, with more professional touring situation was certainly a breeze compared to that.
Kind of set the bar low for
it was. I mean, experience wise, the bar was through the roof because it was an amazing experience, but certainly there wasn't any 4-star hotels and room service and breakfast buffets or anything like that. So once those things came along, it felt like pretty good.
Moving forward in your career, have you seen some of those nicer hotels and
yes,
breakfast buffets, as you say?
Definitely seen some good ones. Yeah.
What are some of maybe like the craziest tour stories you might have?
Oh man,
or just ones that stuck with you maybe?
Well, I don't know. There's just things like the funnest things are when you just sort of run into people that like in random places. Just being on the road. And there's another band that's like going the other way on the highway, and then you're just running into them. Stuff like that's always fun.
Now talking about you playing a band called the Greencards.
Yeah.
And that's a band with your significant other, your wife, right?
Yeah. Well, we had that band for 14 years. My wife Carol and I started that band back in 2002, 3 or something like that. We toured for about 14 years with it. It's great. We had a fantastic time, released a bunch of records, got to play all over the country and some in Europe and back to Australia. And it was awesome. And then when it was time to sort of get off the road with the Greencards, Robert Earl King's gig came along, and I've been doing that up until very recently. So, it's been good.
What was it like playing with Robert?
Oh, brilliant. Playing amazing songs, great songs every night, and vastly different set lists from night to night, which is great. Always kept it really interesting, and he's a great guy, great band, great bunch of guys in the band, musicianship's great, and it was an awesome time. It was a really good time.
I can't imagine. Yeah. So now playing with your wife, I'm a kid who came from, I grew up through a pretty messy divorce.
Yeah.
So there's got to have been some challenges playing in a band with your wife.
Of course, with any partner. Yeah, exactly right. How
have you worked through those?
You just got to work. You just got to work through them. You just got to know when to
back off.
Yeah, well, you just got to be respectful of each other and work through it. It's not always going to be easy street, but so sometimes the lows are even exaggerated, because you're going through it together. But then the highs are so much more, so much greater. So I mean, there's way more positive times and negative times for sure. It's just the challenges that you have in any relationship are maybe amplified sometimes when you're in when you're working together as well. So you got to just face the challenges, man. That's all you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you don't and you get divorced. I mean, that happens too. So for us, thankfully, it didn't happen.
Been able to stick through it all.
That's right.
So what came first? You guys playing together or the marriage?
Well, playing together only because we got married. We've been together a lot longer than we played together, but we got married halfway through our relationship thus far. So so we were playing together before we were married, but we've been a couple for 26 years or something.
I mean, you got to know that the chemistry's there if you're playing well together.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was definitely there as well, so that was great. You know.
Mm-hmm. How does your home in Australia compare to the U.S. here? Besides, just the music, what's the food difference like? What's the, living situation like, or rent expense?
To be honest, some of that's hard for me to answer because I haven't been there for 21 years. I haven't lived there, although I am moving home. So I think Australia's a little more expensive to live. However, minimum wages and things are vastly higher in Australia, $25, $30 an hour versus what it is here. So food, again, Australia's a very westernized culture, just like here. So there's a lot of similarities in food, a lot of ethnic cuisine, but we tend to have, it's easy to get fresher food in Australia, I think. A lot more just fruit markets and vegetable markets and sort of a lot more what you would call like mum and pup delis and stuff versus all chains, just always chains. Although there are a lot of chains because that's just westernized culture. So, but I don't know, seafood, a lot of seafood because they tend to live near the ocean, most folks. Meat pies, handheld meat pies, which you don't really have in America.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so that's sort of Australia's go-to hand food, In America, it's like a burger or a hot dog. In Australia, it tends to be like a meat pie or a pasty, which is this is all sort of British baked, savoury.
It's not pasta.
It's not pasta, it's pasty. It's like a sort of a triangle, short crust. I'm trying to do my best to describe a pasty. Tend to have like diced vegetables inside that have been cooked.
Okay.
Kind of like what empanada is, I guess, but but different enough to be its own thing.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. So you talked about you're getting ready to move back to Australia. Is there some nerves there moving back? Yeah.
I'm anxious about it, as well as I'm excited about it. Got to take my boy home here, Bentley. He's got to go back, so I'm anxious about getting him back. Yeah, nervous excitement. I mean, I'm kind of closing in on that move date now, so I want to get the move done because it's a big move. Yeah, it's such a big move.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I guess is that like one 12-hour, 18-hour flight?
Yeah, it's probably anywhere from 15, 16 hours, that flight from LA. That's a long one out from the west coast of the United States to the east coast of Australia across the Pacific. It's about 15 hours. Jeez. Then of course you've got to get there from here that same morning. So it's like a full total 24-hour experience from when you set foot on the first plane to landing.
Yeah, man, I know we're gonna miss you a whole lot when that time comes for you to go back to Australia. What are some of the things you're gonna miss about the U.S. and then what are some of the things that you're not gonna miss at all?
I don't know. Let's start with the good stuff. I mean, places like this, institutions like this and the community, the music community of the musicians, and there's so much music. I know we've gone through a couple of rough years here, in entertainment industry anywhere, but Austin's still pretty good. There's still gigs every week, lots of gigs. So that just the musicianship and the relationships. Food here is great. I've really liked the food. I mean, I miss Mexican food. I'll tell you what, because that just doesn't exist in Australia. And if it does, they're doing it wrong. I'm sure. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
I've had Mexican food once years ago in Australia, and it just wasn't.
Well, it's a lot of Tex-Mex out here too.
Well, that's good.
Which is like its own little.
Two things Australia has none of: Texans or Mexicans. We really don't have that many. So we got no chance. Australia's got Asians of every nationality. And Europeans of every nationality, and it's just about every other culture. But we don't have much Mexican or Texan culture. So that maybe someone can do that.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe it's take a break from the music. It's got to be you.
Maybe.
you talked about your dad kind of getting you into folk music, right?
Yeah.
Is it safe to say he's a pretty big inspiration for you?
Yeah, for sure, definitely, and still to this day, he still plays, still loves it, plays it for the right reasons, plays it because he loves it.
Right.
That's sort of the resounding thing that always sticks with me is like that. Dad just plays pure joy out of playing music. So that's really that's such a positive mindset to have playing music because there's so many other aspects that you can get in the way.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah, definitely a big inspiration. But it opened my eyes to a lot of things. And then, of course, you come into your own when you become a teen and start getting influenced by popular culture, outside of what your mum and dad's record player was. So then that's when all the real influences, extra stuff comes in that you really cling to yourself, Initially, it's pretty much your parents' record collection, then maybe your brother or your sister or something, and then eventually you start discovering stuff yourself, So
yeah,
so it's no different for me.
For me, it's my older brother's music taste that rubbed off on me, so we have them to blame.
Yeah, well, you can. Thankfully, mine were pretty good. My brother, he just likes rock and roll, so it was great. So I of course, being in Australia, AC/DC was like, I got that pretty early on, and that led to just liking guitar-based rock and roll bands. So that's good. It put me in good stead too, because I do like that stuff.
What would be some other influences or inspirations that you've had?
Many of the people that I used to listen to and have met over here, like if we're looking in the folk or bluegrass world, people like Tim O'Brien, who's a multi-instrumentalist and an amazing singer and songwriter, Daryl Scott, great Tommy Emmanuel, just because you just like, when you see Tommy play, it's like almost everybody, 99.5% of the audience feel like a rank amateur when they watch Tommy. He's just that good. It's just unbelievable. But he sacrificed so much for his art. Like you just have to play all day, or you just have to not stop playing to be that good. And then the great mandolin players like Chris Thiele, Mike Marshall, Adam Steffi, Sam Bush was my first influence. But I really like David Gilmour and Jimmy Page, Angus, Malcolm Young. Rock and roll guitar players, guys like that.
Yeah,
and then plenty of people that I've played with all the years. I mean, they're the biggest influence on you than anyone. You can listen to stuff all day and all night, but it's the people that you play with that rubs off on you more than anything. So,
for sure.
There's just too many to name. Just like, there's 50 in town that I get to play with it, whether it's Robert's band or all the guys and girls that I play with around in the Bluegrass nights, and then people I've, in other bands that I've toured around and in and out around with. So that's the real influences, is the people that you get to play with, because that's where you learn all your stuff. That's where you learn it.
No kidding.
Sure.
So as far as some of the shows you've done in the U.S. in the past 20 years, are there any experiences you've had at a specific show that you just will never be able to forget?
Oh, yeah, countless of them, heaps of them. Sometimes it's just a great show with the band, like, wow, everyone was just like crushing it that night. But playing places like, the Ryman in Nashville never gets old. That's amazing to have played that once, let alone a dozen or 15 times over the years. And then, places like Red Rocks, so they're just like magical venues.
Red Rocks in Colorado?
Yeah, Red Rocks.
Man, how was that? That must have been crazy.
It's pretty great because you just look straight up and it's like, wow. It's like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. So that was a great,
beautiful scenery.
That was a great night. And then Carnegie Hall, getting to play that with Robert was something that you never really thought you'd get to do, because I sort of never thought there'd be a way of getting to play that. When it's based heavily around sort of classical style music. No, it's not always that, but and
then you go in with your mandolin
and go in and play a tune with Robert there, and then I think playing. I think one of the most wild things was playing at that. The football stadium where the Houston, Texas play, and we played. It was George Strait's show, but opening the show was Robert O'Keen, of which I was a part of the band, and then Lyle Lovett, his band, and we were on the same stage together. And then Lyle would play a song with his guys, and then we'd play a song, and we did like this for an hour, and that was pretty amazing. By the end of that set, it was 80,000 people in that arena, and that was just like pretty epic. It's cool. But as you're just sort of playing with the people around you, so it doesn't really, I don't know,
well, I was going to
take it for granted, but you just sort of look around and think, it's pretty big, wow, this is pretty big.
Right, yeah, I was going to ask, when you're on of course, like the smaller venues have their pluses and good times too, but when you're doing one of those bigger venues, like in a stadium or something, what does the energy from the crowd feel like when you're playing on stage?
I'm sure it's amazing, and it was amazing. I wonder what it would be like well, I was on in-ears, like if we're going to get nerdy about it. So that kind of puts you in a little bit of a blockage like this, so you're almost like it blocks that out a little bit, which is so good for the sound because it just keeps everything consistent for you. But no, I mean you can really feel the energy. But then then some nights, just even recently with Robert playing in Dallas and Houston on this last tour I did with him, and the crowds are pretty amped, and I was like, wow, so you do draw on the energy, of course,
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, so of course I've never played a show, but when I graduated and walked the stage, which nobody was really there for me, but for when I walked the stage, I felt invincible. So when people are legitimately there to hear you play, it's got to be something entirely different.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. It is an energy. Maybe you just feel it more than you even hear it a lot of the time. But it's something that again, you're feeding off your buddies that you're playing with there. So it's sort of always, no matter how big or little it is, it always just comes back to that your little force field on stage that you're sort of just locking in with. So I guess that's what your focus is sort of there most of the time, and that just is sort of background to a certain point. But it is still nice when you walk out and you look around and you think, oh shit, that's not a big thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
What were the nerves like before some of those shows?
I don't tend. It's fine. I don't really. It's been a long time since I've got nervous, like in those situations. That doesn't make me nervous. Looking over and seeing them, at a festival and seeing one of the best musicians in the world standing right there, and that makes me nervous more than
right, of course,
playing in front of huge audiences.
Guys like George Strait, Lyle Lovett. Did you get any kind of interaction with those guys?
Well, I just met George briefly because some of the guys know him. I know Lyle. I've known Lyle for years, so fortunate to call Lyle a friend. So that was cool, and some of the guys in his band, good friends, and then of course the relationship with Lyle and Robert, and then that crew have known each other forever. So it's pretty fun.
And they're probably just like huge assholes, right?
Oh yeah, horrible guys. No, they're all good blokes, really good, lovely guys, world class players, but lovely people. Yeah, cool. For sure.
Well, speaking of huge assholes, you came into contact with my dad, Bill, at the shop, right?
Yeah.
What was your first impression of him?
I liked him straight away. How could you not? He was awesome. And I remember I was here playing with a friend from Australia, and it was before I'd moved over here, and we were at South by Southwest, and someone must have needed something from the music store. And, hey, we're going over to the music store. Do you want to go? I was like, yeah, I want to go. And then, this is a dream. This is what I envisioned that it would be like. This is like 2000, and this was before. And in Australia, we certainly didn't have places like Guitar Center and things like that. So it was just like,
wow.
So this was like, when I pulled up in here, I was like, holy shit, because this is like a real...
It's like
a real American music store, and it was just like Fenders shit everywhere, but old stuff, which we probably didn't have as much of that in Australia. So that was pretty cool, just looking at it. And I bought a preamp here the first time. I bought a rack mounted. Oh come on! I wish I could remember this name here.
Something.
It was good. It was a good one. It wasn't just like a like a sort of a cheapy thing. It was a secondhand good version of something. I can't think of it. It'll come to me at the end. Anyway, so that was cool. So I bought that because I hadn't really had any decent gear. I didn't really know anything. In Australia, you could barely at the time get a preamp with any knobs, like the little things. But this was had a whole bunch of EQing options and stuff.
Oh, super cool.
So it was
almost like a learning experience in here.
It was great. It was like, I'm all of a sudden pull some of this shit out and whatever. So
yeah.
So it was cool. So anyway, I must have liked him. I bought something the first time I walked in.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Kym.
Yeah.
I appreciate all the in-depth answers.
Seth, you're welcome, mate.
I'm gonna hit you with a couple quick this or that questions. Kind of pick your brain a little bit, see what your most immediate response is on some of these things. So we'll start off quick and easy. Electric or acoustic?
Acoustic.
Okay. NFT or crypto?
I have no idea what either of those do.
Truck or car?
Car.
Car?
Yeah. Not much of a truck guy.
Okay, as far as cars go, we going Ford or Kia?
Jeez, I'll go Ford.
Which car do you drive?
Oh man, I go to Honda.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. You doing a book? Are you reading a book or you listening to an audiobook?
No, I mean probably more listen to at the moment, just because I just can do that while I'm doing other stuff at the moment. Yeah.
Podcast or radio?
Oh, that's a tough one for me. Probably radio, because I like to listen to live radio, like from Australia at night when I'm sleeping and stuff like that. But I do like podcasts.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Jeans or sweatpants?
Shit, jeans.
There you go.
Yeah.
Boxers or briefs?
Boxers.
There you go. So you gonna lounge on a couch or a recliner?
Ooh. Depends on what I'm watching, man. I guess. I know it's gonna be quicker. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the recliner actually.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, to me, that question's almost like, are you trying to cuddle with someone when you're relaxing, or do you want your space?
Well, problem with the couch is you tend to be on the side with the couch. The recliner can often be in front like this,
There you go.
On the couch, you tend to be on the side, so you get a crook neck sometimes on the couch.
So when you're sleeping, you sleep on your back or the side?
No, I think I sleep on my side. Was that contradicting my story about...
Now we just
but then the television's on. When your head's on the side, the television's sort of on the side as well.
And it screws up what you're watching.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going with the recliner now too. You put sort of a stubby holder, put your beer in it, whatever too.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good one.
That's a good way to hang out for sure. Facebook or Instagram?
Oh, Instagram, but neither.
Okay. So no social media?
No, I do it out of necessity. Right. I stopped doing comments like just as a human being, political comments or whatever. A few years ago, I just thought, oh, what's the point? I shouldn't be doing that. So it's really just as a selfish way to say I'm playing here, and it's just like that because I'm not overly into it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure this is going to be great.
I hate all things on all social media.
It drives me nuts. But it's a necessity, and of course it's a good tool to help promote yourself as if you're an independent artist and you're doing whatever you are, music, art, making jewelry, you're giving swimming lessons, whatever it is, I'm sure it's a good thing.
Absolutely. PC or Mac?
No, Mac. Yeah, I can't even look at a PC anymore.
You're an Apple supporter.
I am.
iPhone?
Yep. Yeah.
What do you think of someone with an Android?
Is
that an instant red flag for you?
It's not really. No, I wouldn't say it's an instant red flag because they're figuring it out. They seem like they're doing it how they need to do it.
I have an Android. So.
Okay, well that's fine, man. I think the phone itself is probably similar. I don't know, but
if you want to stop the interview, we can.
Looking at a PC, and even though I can't even look at it. I can't even get there. Is that what you got going over there? Yeah, well, that's fine. Each their own. Wait a minute, these cameras just went off.
That's where all the little hiccups have been coming from.
Yeah.
This is pretty much a no-brainer. Cat or dog?
Well, no, we'll go with the dog. Yeah.
I don't know if the cameras can see, but Bentley's been hanging out with us this whole time.
Hey, get up.
Being the sweetest little boy.
Say hello.
He's like, stretch.
No more pieces on it.
Big stretch, eh? You're doing a good job, buddy. He's a good boy. I do like cats though. He doesn't like cats.
Right.
He would not tolerate cats. I guess, but I do see. You see on Instagram here making a lie of myself, but you see it. It'd be like a chicken and a dog will jump on its back or something, and the cats and dogs hanging out. But no, he don't like them, do you?
Yeah. So if you're writing a song, would you rather the weather be sunny or rainy?
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe rainy. Because then I might achieve something, achieve it. If it's sunny, I might want to go outside and play, and I tend to like it. Then I'm like, hey, it's a pretty nice day, So, go to the pub,
Figure out something else to do.
Yeah,
right.
Something else to do.
You like winter or summer better?
No, I like summer. I can't do the cold. The cold eventually gets too cold, and especially in America. I mean, I was just in Colorado a couple of weeks ago playing with some friends, and it was like, down to 2 and 3 degrees in the morning, and I was like, God almighty, that's just so cold, because then I flip it back to Celsius, which is what the temperature in Australia is. Tell my mum and dad, it's like 17 below,
Yeah.
So they've never seen stuff like that before. So
where were you in Colorado?
Steamboat Springs for the festival they have out there in January. Playing with my buddies. Reckless Kelly flew me out to hang out and play with them. Good boys.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right, Kym. I think I got pretty much everything I need to know out of you.
Great.
I really, really appreciate you coming on and being here with us.
Thanks for having me, man.
I hope I get to see as much as you as possible before you head back home, man.
You'll see me. I appreciate it. Thanks, fellas.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
your support.
It's a great store, man.
And before you get out of here, if you don't mind, I'd love to hear you play something.
All right, you got it.
Awesome, Kym.
Let's do it. there.